Okay, and we are back with the amazing Dr. Richard Allen Miller. Rick, to those who know him. Now, I'm going to do this again, and for those of you listening, dear listeners, please forgive me, but Rick doesn't know this. During the 90s, Rick, I was working all the time, kind of like I am now, actually. I never watched, I haven't had television for 27 years. I did not watch, I don't say anything yet, I did not watch The X-Files. About 3 months ago, I bought the whole set, okay? And I started watching it. And I have never had more fun watching I do it after work at night, 2 a.m., but I've never had, I save one episode a night, kind of like a dessert. And it's a kick. There's some really, really amazing stuff in there. And I understand a little bit about the X-Files.
Well, I did the workup and the first 8 episodes. If you'll see my name on them. I did the first ones, and then I worked with Carter up in BC as an advisor. When they would walk into a top secret room, what would it look like? Well, it has a desk over there, and I would be the guy that would tell them how it would look and how
set
it would
director.
feel.
I got it, among other things.
Well, not a set director. I'm just an advisor. Having done it, been there, done that. It's interesting. Back then, the reason I chose not to be the writer and they brought Carter in is that my team in the original one, and I send you the workup, had nine members, and it was called PSYOPs. And basically, if I had forensics, I had this, I had that, I had a tracker, an Indian tracker, if you had to go in the woods.
Oh, yeah.
They wanted a smaller budget because they didn't think X-Files was going to go, and so they only wanted 2 people. And I didn't know how to write it that way because I always had deep pockets.
I got it.
And I didn't want to live in Hollywood. Weird, excuse me.
Oh, yeah.
And I have to tell you, I just came back from Hollywood, and I can't get it. I really don't know what it is that anybody would want to live there like that.
Damn good question. Yeah.
Well, there's your aliens and zombies, man. In values and what's important.
It's a freak show. Yeah.
Well, it's different. It's not a freak show. It's different. And, the American dream, the only way I figure you can do the American dream is if you're asleep. And it's the whole thing's nuts.
That's good.
And everybody drives a hot-end car. Like... it's just different. It's just the money thing.
It's only $450 a month or so to lease one. No problem. Don't worry about it.
So I got taken on my birthday to Yamashiro's. That was a really nice experience. And right below it is a thing called the Magic Castle. And the Magic Castle is for stage magicians that are, all over the country.
Oh, it's still there. Yeah, it's been around for a long time.
Okay, so I never knew anything about it. So this one guy taking my workshop is called the Hollywood Lawyer, and he's Japanese, and he says, let me look into it. Now, they have a standing room in a line, waiting lane of 6 weeks into the future. And this was Friday night, and I wanted to go Saturday night after the workshop. And what he did, he found 6 people that canceled. And the owner came over to the table, and it cost like $35 just to get inside the place, not even talking about your car valet, the guy's parking your car, and you got to tip him, and the meals start at $40 up. And it was fake. So the owner comes up to me, sees this little button on my lapel, and he says, well, you're not a member of our club, but that looks like a magic lodge. And I said, yeah, this is OTO. This is Magick with a K. And he says, what's the difference between magic with a C and magic with a K? And I said, well, you're sleight of hand, and I'm sleight of mind. I'm teaching people how to change the movie. And I'm going to say something now. When I trained Navy SEALs, the single most important survival tool was attitude. There is on Netflix a 3-hour series called Remote Survival, where they have 6 people dropped in the middle of nowhere with some experts to help you walk around to find your fire and your water and da-da-da-da-da. And the 2 of 6 people, they have to go, so far in a 3-day period before they're extracted. And 2 people failed. And both of them failed not because there wasn't water or food or heat. It was because they couldn't do it. I.e., I couldn't drink that water. It's colored.
I got it.
And it's the attitude which caused...
Gee, the prime directive was missing.
Well, that's right. The problem is, you never get. Remember Galaxy Quest? Never give up, never give up.
Oh yeah.
That's okay. There is nothing more overrated than unrewarded genius, and there's nothing more underrated than persistence. And it's that persistence. Let me give you an example.
Well, hold on. You just said some really great stuff. You're so right. It doesn't matter if you've got a 200 IQ if you don't use it. You got 140 IQ and you're working overtime, you're going to walk right past those other people. Good job.
I don't know about that. But, okay, so this one guy has to make a fire. It's going to get cold and he's got to get it started. Right. And there's no matches. How does he do it? He pulls his shoelace apart and wraps it around 2 sticks, and for 2 hours he's whittling this thing back and forth trying to create enough heat to get the tinder to light.
Wow.
And he had 2 hours and nothing's happening. And he's about ready to give up, and the guy at the other end, the Mike, the expert guy that's somewhere off on the moon, giving him advice. What is that you're looking at? Save that. That's important. Okay, so that guy says, just do it a little bit longer. And just because he said that, the guy did it, and that's when it caught fire. It is always when you don't expect it. It has to do with the moment, and you don't think about it. Now, the new book I have out, the workbook 2 that just came out, has an opening statement that says, everything works out in the end. If things aren't working out, it's not yet the end.
Good. Another good line.
Yeah, that's the way I train SEALs. Listen, it is about your attitude and the fact that you don't give up, you just keep persisting because you know it's going to work. Now, that's why you practice, so that you know why you don't want to give up.
That's how you succeed in life, ladies and gentlemen. You don't quit.
Yeah, you can't. It's not about quitting. It's about the journey and all the different nuances of it.
Yeah. Very good.
Well, that was my whole thing for the day.
Well, that's good. That's outstanding. Now, tell me about...
it's about your attitude. I would say that that's what structures the water in your body. Mm-hmm. That is how psyche is brought into matter.
Well, we know Emoto proved it. I mean, if you have... And it's all electromagnetic stuff. If you think right, your electrical magnetic field will shape the water in your body, and you'll harmonize.
Yeah, I don't know how that all works. Jerry Pollack, that wrote all of that, the exclusion zone water, the fourth phase of water, was my lead in 1970. And Jerry, now there's been some brand new discoveries in water since that book came out. Exclusion zone water is H3O2. And really, what that is the water that surrounds a cavitation bubble when a drop of water hits a big pool of water. And what happens is you get a little bubble that pops back up a little bit, except that it's not solid water. What it is exclusion zone water that has trapped the medium that it's in, and that is called cavitation, and it is a kind of metaphor of a topological surface of a black hole going into a white hole. And your time is the waves going outward as the future, and the actual waves that go inward and slap each other is what creates the exclusion zone water, and that's your past, which is a primary wave. And when you talk to your future, the way that you do that is that you have 5 things in front of you, and only one of them has significance. The reason you're discovering the one is significant is how your future is talking to your present to change the past. And that's time travel. And the metaphor is your angel, yours, Jeff Rense, is a woman in the future that is everything that you are not, that complements and makes you that as a black hole going into a white hole. And that's a metaphor. That's how you look at time That's how you look at the Earth. That means there's a double ganger Earth. And oh, guess what? There turns out that almost all star systems are binary, and we've got one too. And that's called Nibiru, and the Planet 7X, and the thing that's causing the things in the sun, and why Rome, and NASA, and all the rest of them have been putting all those birds up to take a look-see. And it's not that easy to see things, even though you think it would be out in space. It's big.
Well, you'd think that the IFR scope in Arizona, among other things, that owned by the Catholic Church would be able to see it. You'd think.
Well, listen, this slant that I did yesterday in Hollywood about the giants being discovered, giant skulls being discovered in Pennsylvania, she's covering it as if it were a cover-up. Who would do that?
Wait a minute. Now, were they?
Are talked about all through the Bible. You know, there's
they're giants. Of course, they're giants.
And Nephilim, and okay, it goes on and on. But they're discovering this everywhere. Why is that not out in the public? And part of the dots we are allowed to connect. And who is controlling that? And my guess was the Roman Catholic Church doesn't want you to know that there are other kinds of humans.
They don't want us to
from
know
a
either.
different star system that is a binary to us that goes out toward Rigel.
Were these whole skeletons or just skulls piled up?
All of the above. They find in Russia. They found whole skeletons. They are finding burial mounds in various parts of Pennsylvania, and these are all done by very scholarly people in the 1800s, when there was no such concept as aliens from that point of view. We didn't even have aircraft back then when they were discovering these in the 1860s. And let me say this: these skulls are huge. They're 7.5, 8 foot giants. Means they grew up in a different gravity system or something. And so, with all of that said, there's a lot more going on here than any of us know. And at my pay grade, I know there's a high likelihood I'll probably never know what really happened. Probably.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Well, I don't know about that part. I know that the Roman Catholic Church is going to be the last pope, because when this nonsense gets out on how they've been covering up, I'll tell you,
this guy's a real creep.
There's a lot of information with breakaway technologies, and who did it, and what did it, and what are the Nephilim, and the Anunnaki, and the da-da-da-da-da. I have no clue, but I continue finding references in all different kinds of media. In France, there are caves in France that'll have a bison, painted by some cavemen, except that bison has a bunch of dots around its eye that are precision orientation of star maps, and it gets better. And the cave over there, and they're in reverse, indicating that those star maps were made from space. And we have lots of different things from India with different kinds of flying craft and other kinds of things with previous epochs. And there's no question that there's a type of false flag disillusion of distractions with ISIS beheading people over here, and let's have a war over there because it's good for business when oil prices are down. Listen, the whole thing's a mess, and as far as politics go, it's an embarrassment and a disgrace, and somebody needs to say it publicly. And the more I'm going to say it, I'm hoping other people start talking to their neighbors about it, because your voting card is right in your hand right now in Oregon, and it's an embarrassment.
Did I get my voting
candidates that are running?
Did I get my ballot already?
You got it probably today.
Oh, all right. I'll have to find it.
Trust me, it's due, okay? But that's what, in Jackson County, you're in Jackson County, we're in Josephine. Listen, it's an embarrassment. And I'm looking at all the hoods that are running at different levels of Congress, and they're all criminals.
But we've been looking to the same thing ever since JFK was killed, Rick.
Listen, Bill Clinton has a special bridge going across Arkansas into Mexico to bring the cocaine across. It's got NRAPs at either end and his name on the bridge. I have a federal judge 10 years older than me that's saying he's the worst criminal out of Arkansas. And now he's got his wife running for president?
Well, what we need is 8 more years of the Clintons, exactly. Thank you for that.
Well,
Just what we need.
Years of Donald Trump?
Yeah, wait, listen, I'll take Trump over the Clintons any day. This woman is campaigning on the woman's card. How many of the rape victims did she stand up for that her husband had violated?
I am not going to vote against something by voting something else that's just as bad. I'm not.
Well, you won't vote then.
I will. Yes, I will. I'm going to find some way of protesting because the two Republican parties that are trying to stop Trump and Democratic Party, it's you betcha time. It's bullshit. And
vote for Jack Benny. Vote for Jack.
This is why they say there's not going to be an election.
Oh, there's going to be an election.
The whole thing's a set up candy can.
Did you see the story I ran on the Diebold machine? Or Diebold?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it's another example. It's all fixed, all of it.
You want to follow a good one, American Odyssey on Netflix is about ISIS, Osama bin Laden, and how they assassinated the SEAL Team 6. And when you talk
that's
about
pretty disgusting.
No longer the country I served and protected.
No, it's not. Not at all.
It's not. I would have nothing. I'm embarrassed. I'm about to go over to Europe. I'm going to meet with Zen Gardner and some others over there in Amsterdam. And listen, I am embarrassed as an ugly American.
What is Zen doing over there? I thought he was in South America.
No, he's in Prague right now. Or I'm supposed to meet him.
Oh, he's visiting. He's visiting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, very good.
Very cool. He's actually a way better writer than I am. I'm more nerdy. His prose are exceptional. I like his writing, so.
I run a lot of his stuff. He's a very good writer.
Yeah, he's articulate. It's a shame that at my level of awareness, there are people making decisions on my best interest.
Correct.
Right.
They're making all the decisions. Come on. You have no power. Neither do I.
Yeah, well, the 1%ers are trying to get rid of the 3%ers right now with those Iceland tapes. There is a website that I think is very cool called hangthebankers.com.
That's kind of neat.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That goes back to Bush 41. He said if the people really knew what we were doing, they'd drag us out in the streets and hang us.
What we need is a Nuremberg with accountability.
Yeah, none of those are monkey trials. We need real trials. Come on.
Yeah, a real one where there's accountability on these kinds of things. Just in Sarajevo and what happened there. My God.
Yeah. Well, that was the Clintons again, spreading radiation right and left. People there got cancer. They're dying.
Now you can enjoy it on a more local level. I wouldn't want to live in New York City right now with Indian Point and what it's doing with the Hudson.
Oh, my God. Well, how about east of Hanford? You mentioned Hanford earlier. You know, the guy said, I ran the story. He said there's a whole cemetery full of babies with no brains in their skulls. None.
There's, and those SARS and some of the other things where the skull is too small and the brain pops because it has nowhere to go.
Correct. That and
there's creepy things.
Well,
going on.
It's a war on our genetic history, our heritage. War on our genetic future. The war is on genes.
Well,
basically.
okay, that's NASA and the secret, the weapons.
And don't forget Google. Google. Yeah, Google's in on it. Don't kid yourself. They had more visits to the White House.
All of them, yeah.
Do you know that Google has visited the White House more than anybody else in the 7.5 years we've been saddled with the Oreo cookie? 470-some visits, weekly visits in nearly 8 years by Google execs to the White House. Once a week. What the hell is that about?